welcome to a Few Goldilock Bears podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about things we love, things that we hate, and things in the middle. This could be things that we're indifferent about, that we're ambivalent about, that we're on the fence about. These are the gray areas of life. These are the things that aren't in the black and white, that they don't maintain to your precious polar opposites.
Hello, I'm Vincent Cloud.
I'm John Nemeth.
And I'm David Lauer.
And you know what, guys?
Should we go straight into the topics?
No, hear me out. I think we should talk about old topics. And
right.
Let's call that segment the, I don't know, Deja Fuse, because it makes sense with few. Although when you print out oops all Deja Fuse, some people are like, that's not how it's spelled, you fucking idiots.
Oh, man.
Which has happened.
Those people
I'm
sound
just
great.
deja confused.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you called them Deja cunts. Anyway, Deja cunts. Oh my god. Now that's a fucking punk band name. Holy shit.
It's all about punctuation.
Punctuation. Is that punctuation? That's got to be a band out there, right?
That's something, right?
That's at least an album name.
I call it punctuate, although I don't know much about punk, really. All right.
I know enough.
That's true. DIY, that's all you need, right? An attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Let's oh yeah, the Deja Fuse.
Let's
go.
So we've talked about like shaving and that kind of stuff and how many times a day you brush your teeth and whatnot. I just like, for whatever reason, I've been finding like all this just like maintenance just so like annoying. Like every time like I have to trim my fingernails or my toenails, and it's like, oh, not again. And I just like put it off until like my fingernail gets long enough that I like bend it backwards or something. I'm like, oh, all right, it's time. Or I don't necessarily want to have like a neck beard, but I also just it's such a chore to like shave it. And I'm like, whatever. My face hair is slightly longer than my neck hair. That's good enough these days. And I'm like, how can I combine these things? Can I like, like clip my toenails in the shower, like brush my teeth while I'm shaving? I don't know. Like how do I like just it just all this like just maintenance, like you're just trying to run just to stay in the same place,
I would do that. I would on my way to work, I would clip my fingernails.
On your way to work? Holy shit.
Yeah, because when I lived in northern Wisconsin, I had to drive like an hour to work, and like I don't know, I got nothing else to do. I'm just clipping my fingernails as I'm driving. Got the cruise control on. And like it worked, but it was always weird. But because at the end of your drive, when you step out of your vehicle, when you stand up and all the fingernails like fall off you, you're like, oh, I forgot I even did that. And those were just laying on my lap.
Oh man, one time I was clipping my fingernails outside and I just like let them land where they may. And then I saw like ants come over and start like dragging them away. I'm like, what do you guys want with these?
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, they're gonna build a house.
Yeah, maybe that's expensive material for them. We're like, we don't get a lot of this.
Yeah. What's in there? It's like keratin or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They're gonna take it to the farmer's market and sell that.
Wow. Yeah, I think I mentioned this before with my stupid ingrown toenails. They look like raptor claws. I have to fucking dip them in a warm tub for like 20 minutes and then have to like try and not cut myself while I'm trying to dig out this old fossil. Yeah, sucks. So that maintenance really is shitty. And John, I forgot. Yeah, you have a neck beard. So when people like, do you get insulted? Like, yo, fucking neck beard. You're like, "Ugh, yeah, but What's the alternative? You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. A moderate amount of effort.
Man. Yeah.
I always think of a neck beard as the people who like kind of have the chin strap and then like the hairy neck, but then like they don't have like the upper part of the beard or the mustache. That's that's how I choose to interpret that, so I don't have to take it
Oh,
personally when people say that. Um, I don't know if that's true or not.
that's a nice defense mechanism you got going on
Thank
there.
you.
Hey, I agree with that. It's like the neckbeard is like what like from Kingpin, the Amish guy, where it was
Yeah.
just the neck only. Everything else is nice and shaven.
Oh yeah.
I don't like doing all the hygiene up. Like I have clippers and I'll buzz my head and I'll like and I'll shave my neck. But like I've relegated it to 1 day a week. I'll do it on Sundays. Otherwise, I ain't touching shit. I'll do it. I'll shave my neck, I'll shave my head, and then I take a shower, and that's what I do on Sunday afternoon or evening. Usually in the evening because like I'm procrastinating all day knowing I'm gonna do it, but I don't want to do it.
Hmm. Yeah. I think if I could get laser hair removal surgery on my face, I'd do that. I hate fucking shaving. Sucks. Has anyone done that, you think? I've never heard of it.
On their face?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
Yeah, like,
chicks do it.
yeah.
Well then call me a chick because I don't want to fuck. I hate shaving so much. And like even if I let it go wild, it's so gross looking and patchy and it's horrible. Ugh.
Like that quote from Joe Dirt where he's like, so you're telling me your hair just grows in all white trashy like that by itself?
I don't know what you're saying, but basically that's what's happening. Yeah. Uh, anyways, I say let's get the show started, eh?
Yeah,
And Dave, I can't think of a better person to start the show. Go ahead.
All right, let's do it. Um, I wanted to talk about the pyramids and like ancient history. And I think the pyramids are something that everyone is aware exist in Egypt. And I'm kind of indifferent to how the pyramids were built. Like, I had like my boss randomly like asked me a question, and it was like really confusing to me because I couldn't believe that he asked me it. But he asked me, he's like, "How do you think the pyramids were built?" And I was like, I don't know. Like I've watched a million YouTube videos and History Channel and Discovery Channel things and different documentaries. I don't know how they're built. Like there's a million theories on it. Like am I supposed to just pick one? And he was like and he like told me his theory. He's like I think they built them from the top down.
yeah.
And I was just kind of confused by that. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, does that mean they built up a bunch of sand around the pyramids and placed the top block and then placed stuff underneath them? I, I don't know. But that didn't, it seemed like you were just making it more difficult doing it that way. Because then you're fighting gravity the entire pyramid the whole way. Um, and it's like, how did they build them? All these stones between like 2 tons and 80 tons, and they came from a quarry like 80 miles away or something, or hundreds of miles away. I'm not sure. And it's like, I have no idea how they built them. It's crazy to me. But what's more interesting to me is there's kind of like a pseudo archaeologist named Graham Hancock, and he's always more interested not in how the pyramids were built, but when the pyramids were built. Because like mainstream historians say that the pyramids were built, 3 to 4,000 years BC, but Graham Hancock suspects that they were actually built like maybe 8,000 years before that, making them like so like the Egyptian empire that was there in Egypt, um, I feel like John is probably Googling the numbers that I'm saying, and they're probably
No,
inaccurate.
I'm looking
But
up who Graham Hancock is.
okay, he's a British guy. He has like different books, and he has like a Netflix show that talks about like how our ancient history is kind of older than we think, and that like we have more ancient civilizations, and how there's evidence of that. Um, some of his like his TV show is really compelling. And it's I don't know what to believe, It's so maybe it's true, maybe it's all baloney, but it's interesting. Um, and like the thought that like maybe that the Egyptian empire that was there, the civilization that was there, that was like Cleopatra and King Tut and all those Tut, like maybe the pyramids were there before them. Like maybe they were there way prior, thousands of years prior. And then, like the Ice Age happens like 10,000 years ago, they say, and Neanderthals die out. The mammoths die out, and there's like the Earth comes out of this Ice Age, and then but the pyramids survived all of that, and then there's a civilization around the pyramids, and that would be super fascinating because, like, we had, I feel like it was a super advanced civilization that made the pyramids, but at the same time, the only super advanced thing they did was make the pyramids. Like, we don't see any other evidence there because, like, nothing else really withstands the test of time and weather and erosion. Um, so I don't know. Watching a lot of Graham Hancock stuff talking about the pyramids is interesting. And then even more recently, they said there was like some kind of underground sonar that was looking beneath the pyramids, and they're able to see like long pillars that were going down into the sand, like hundreds of meters. And some people are like, oh man, there's weird pillars down there. And then there's like theories online of like whether this is actually true or whether it's baloney, and I don't know if it's true or not. And some people are kind of theorizing like, well, maybe they're not just like stone pillars that are like structurally sound, like holding things up like columns, but maybe they're like empty silos that were filled with water, and they were like wells that were bringing up water from like the desert below them. And I don't know, just like weird theories about like what the purpose of the pyramids were for. Like that kind of stuff is way more interesting than how they built them, but like why they built them, when they built them. Um, yeah, I think that stuff's pretty interesting. What do you guys think?
Um, I really don't know much about them. But I think like how long did it take to make? You know? Like never mind like okay, we have an idea for this structure and we're going to make it. Was did they take their precious time with it, you know? I mean, you
I
hear
feel
like, oh,
like something I read said that they suggested that they were built between like 30 to 40 years or something,
oh really?
which seems like insane to me. It would have to be much longer. I would think hundreds of years, but who knows?
Yeah, I was surprised too when I looked it up. Yeah, like the Great Pyramid was like it said like 26 years or something, which shocked me. Um, I like your the time frames are astounding even if you accept just like like the commonly accepted um like linear or time frames or whatever. Like one of those mind-blowing facts to me is that Cleopatra lived closer to today than to when the Great Pyramid was built. Like she was around not too long before like the year zero or whatever. Like so she lived closer to the modern day than to when the pyramids were built, which just is insane. Like for recorded history, how old the pyramids actually are, even if you don't think they're older than people think that they are.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's like it's super crazy because you think of like all like the lost history that exists, like where there's thousands of years where we don't even really know a whole lot of what happened. Like you gotta imagine like the Library of Alexandria that was like burnt down. Like how much history did we lose?
Yeah, and when you mentioned Graham Hancock, it sounded really familiar to me. I actually read some of one of his books, Fingerprints of the Gods. I remember a book I've brought up a few times, 1491, about like the Americas before Columbus. I was talking about that book to my neighbor, and then he suggested this Graham Hancock book, and I started reading it, and it was really cool. And then like I was like, oh man, like what he said was interesting, and I'd like look it up to like for further research on it, and just like all these different things have just been like debunked that he was claiming. So then I'm like, oh, so like it kind of put a damper on me continuing to read it because it seems like he didn't have the most rigorous research for it. But like he in that book he was positing that like there there's so many like similarities in ancient, like what they built and what their beliefs were and everything, because they all like descended from like a much larger like kind of global civilization where everyone had like a common culture or whatever, and then kind of got isolated over time, which is an interesting thought. Um, but
Yeah,
um,
he's talked about that with like how there's pyramids in North America, South America, Asia, Africa. Like there's pyramids that are all like thousands of years old, and it's I don't know, it's just super interesting. It's like maybe, you know, um our, human history is kind of it's such a mystery, and there's only a few things that like withstand that test of time. And unfortunately, like books is not one of them. It's giant like stone blocks and pyramids for whatever reason. But then another cool pyramid thing to me is like how when people look at like the surface of Mars, when they're like pointing out stuff that looks like pyramids, then they're like, yeah, it was the aliens. The aliens made pyramids on Mars, and then they came to Earth, and then they built the Earth pyramids.
John, didn't you see the pyramids? Didn't you visit
no, I've um seen like a couple like more minor pyramids in Peru.
the
Um,
miners, huh?
yeah, like not the super well known ones or anything, but they're pretty cool regardless. Um, I would definitely like to see like Chichen Itza and those in like Mexico, and like the Egyptian ones I think would be really cool. Um, one thing that like is another fact that just mind is that like the pyramids were the tallest man-made structure on Earth for like 3,000 years or whatever, like basically until we invented steel. And then, because the only way to like you could handle that weight with stone is to just, okay, you got to have like this giant base, and then you can like slowly work your way up in tiers. And we didn't have like a material that could be like thin and tall until, like 150 years ago or whenever, or maybe even more recent than that.
Cleopatra, didn't she, her and Mark Antony, right? Weren't they a thing?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And that's like, oh shit, I don't know actually. I was like, when was the fall of Rome? Because,
Like about, I think Rome was mainly around like 500 BC to 500 AD or something like that,
okay.
sandwiching the zeros, 500 years on each side.
Oh, okay. Um, why do we, this is really getting off tangent or whatever, but why is there a pyramid on our dollar bill?
That's like the stonemason culture, isn't it? Like the all the founding fathers were in like the stonemasons, and they have all this like ancient Egyptian imagery in um their rituals and whatever. So they
Oh,
just put it on our currency and whatnot.
oh okay. Hmm. Yeah, never knew that. Uh, are
Yeah,
we allowed
it's.
to walk on the pyramids
I think
at
they have
all?
designated places you can go, like in them. There's designated paths, but I mean, like they're very well guarded and like I don't know. Like, don't they say that like almost everything of value in the pyramids, like when there was like sarcophaguses and like gold and stuff like that, like all that stuff, like anytime there was a war for like people would just go in there and steal everything they could.
Jeez.
It should be
Yeah.
in a museum.
Yeah. I mean, don't the British museums have like fucking everything?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, hmm.
I
Yeah,
would
I
say
would
with
like to
the alien stuff, unfortunately
aliens.
the ones on Mars, now that we have like better imagery and like robots wandering around on there and stuff, like they've all just been found to be like normal like hills and stuff. Or there was like a like a face on Mars and like, oh no, just more rocks.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, it's like
right.
oh, there was a giant mound, and then there was like two rocks, but like the shadow looked like eyeballs, and it was
Yeah.
like it's just shadow. I don't know. The face on Mars. I remember that being on like those junk tabloid magazines when we were kids, and we're like, oh my gosh, aliens do exist.
Has it been around that long? For me, I thought that was a newer thing. I don't know. I have no idea how long we've
I
been
remember
looking at
like the
Mars.
face on Mars was referenced in like the 2002 movie Mission to Mars with like Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
So that was in 2002, but like that face on Mars, I think it was from like the mid 90s somewhere when it was first discovered, I would think.
Oh shit. Okay. You know what? Segway challenge. Let's build. Oh my gosh.
I don't care how we come up to the new topic. I just care when we do it.
We'll do it now.
We'll do it live. All right. Go ahead, John.
I love the album Treats by the band Sleigh Bells. I this is top of mind because I just went to see them in concert recently. It was a good show. On on their studio albums, I think it's just like there's like a guy and a girl. The um guy like wailing on a guitar and her shouting into a microphone, and then they have like I don't know like a drum machine or something and like different like electronic effects. And their first album, which is the one I'm talking about, Treats especially, is just pretty lo-fi, like not a lot of production value, but I think like super catchy. I love her voice, and like the way she'll like just like loop harmonies with herself and stuff. Um, and like it's just noisy and um, fun and catchy. Um, Seeing them in concert was cool because they had, you know, like a live drummer replicating a lot of what the was on the albums, and then they had a backup singer on a keyboard who like sounded remarkably like the lead singer. Like it was a very good match for like performing live the stuff that they've, you know, done through production and stuff. And um I there's only like I've listened to all of their full-length albums multiple times. There's like one other one that I really like, and their latest one I'm starting to get to know, and I like it okay. But like the Treats is definitely still my favorite. Like it's just more raw and energetic and whatnot. You guys get a chance to listen to it at all?
I did. I liked it a lot. It was immediate. Well, as soon as I looked it up, though, looked up the band. It said noise rock. I'm like, I think I like noise rock bands. Like I love If I Had a Hi-Fi, and they're listed as noise rock. I don't understand. I'm like, isn't it all noise or something? You know what I mean? But like after listening to them and listening to this, I'm like, I think I'm a noise rock fan. Like I want to check out more stuff. I think it's just more free. It's S- Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, what counts as noise? Like anything could count as noise. So I think and fun. Yeah, that's what I wrote down. Like I want to check out more of their stuff, but also more bands that would qualify or be considered noise rock. So I didn't write any particular songs down, but wait, A and B Machine, I like that, but I liked a lot of it. Like I just didn't write anything down. But the synth, right? It has to be like sampled. It sounds like a distorted guitar, like metal almost, and they sampled that and they played it on a keyboard or something like that. It sounded so like, what is it called? Bedroom rock or whatever, where it's like just two people in a bedroom recording stuff like Billie Eilish and shit like that. I immediately was like, oh, this is cool. Like I could tell that there's not a lot of people in this band, but they're using samples and loops and stuff like that. And the lyrics didn't stand out too much for me, but I understood the feeling. I understood like the drive and again the fun. Like I love the cover. It's like cheerleaders, right?
Yeah, but like all
It
their faces are blurred out or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
distorted or
Yeah, and right away I'm like, "Ooh, this is gonna be like." I could already picture in my mind like a demented, "Hey Mickey" or "Hey" or whatever it is, you know. And
yeah.
that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, it's
It,
kind of like kind of pep
yeah.
rally-esque. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I want to check this out again. At first I was like, "Are they overusing the distorted whatever?" And then after a while, I'm like, no, this is perfect. Like I like them.
Are they not using it enough?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like how I felt about the Misfits Walk Among Us, where I'm like, are they doing too much heyo? You know? And then I'm like, no, they aren't doing it enough. Like I love that shit. So yeah, this is awesome. I want to check out more of their shit for sure. Dave, you got anything to say about this?
I listened to a little bit of it, and A and B Machine was the song that kind of stood out to me as well. I like that one. Um, I do like this kind of music. I think it really, when I hear like a sound, like a band like this, I'm like, I bet they would be good live. Like, it's immediately what I think because it's like that fusion of like you can hear the guitars and some percussion, but then you have like the electronic stuff that's layered on top of it. And then and plus it gives, I don't know, for live music it gives like such an extra layer when you have, your instruments and your vocals, but then when you add electronic stuff over top of it, and then you're probably going to have some like lasers and lights and like weird video stuff going on, and it just like adds layers to like the sensory input as you're like watching the performance. And I think, yeah, it just sounds like it'd be good. It kind of reminded me of that band MGMT,
Hmm.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
where yeah, like I don't know, like it's just super catchy. It's good. And there's like two people in the band, and they're like, Vince, you kind of said a lot of the stuff that I was thinking. Um, but I would definitely, it's kind of a genre of music that I don't listen to enough because, and I don't listen to it enough. I feel like that because anytime I do listen to it, I'm like, oh, this is really good. I like this. I'm like, I gotta hear more of this. But like I just don't for whatever reason. And I do like her voice. I like how I used to not like, I don't know. I feel like we've always been conditioned when we listen to the radio and we're listening to artists like Taylor Swift and Beyonce and everything we listen to on the radio, that the lead singer is front and center and that's what matters the most. And everything else is like second fiddle to the lead singer. but there's lots of music out there where the lead singer is just a background piece with all the other instruments, and nothing is taking center stage. It all has a place, and nothing is standing above the rest, and it all melds together and it all has its own place. And like that style of music, I think is, I don't know, it's more creative and it's not like so dependent on having that Taylor Swift at front and center, like with her weird lyrics, singing about the same thing every song, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like the vocals just being another instrument rather than like all the instruments being backup to the singer. I
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, tend to enjoy that style more as well.
I'm on the fence about their band name, Sleigh Bells.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't understand it at all. Or like they're like so that it's so generic in general, and then like they were selling merch, it just said like bells on it. I'm like, okay, nobody even knows who Sleigh Bells is, and if I wear a hat that just says bells, like
Right.
zero chance anybody knows what this is from.
So I read that they came out in like 2008, that's when they kind of got started. So they're kind of a newish band enough. So I always like it when I like a new band where I'm like, see, I'm not old. I could still get down with the youth, you know?
Yeah, I mean they released a new album, like 2 months ago, so
Oh shit. Okay.
they're they're current for sure.
Oh, you said that what was the other album that you said was really
Uh,
good?
Texas, Texis. Like
Hmm.
that's a close second for me.
Okay.
And maybe there's times where I might say that one's my favorite if I'm feeling it that day. So I think those are both very good.
Cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. And this is not being disrespectful. I mean, I don't mean it that way. Where I was like, I could make one of these songs. You know what I mean? Like it's the indiness, the DIY. Like that's what kind of appeals to me from like punk bands. Where like, oh no, you gotta have the feeling, you gotta have the attitude, and how you're playing the instruments. That's what's kind of what you're getting out of this. And yeah, I was like, man, I want to like it made me want to like get out the keyboard and trying to hammer away on some stuff and try and make something out of it. Like, so I like that. I like bands that kind of get me to like, hey, I should be doing something.
Oh, it's like Tenacious D says, like, yeah, but you know who did make it?
Me.
That
One to
like
nothing.
Vince, I've told you like that I was trying to learn guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that failed miserably
Oh no.
because I learned enough guitar to realize that like the daunting task of like how much time and effort and energy it would take for me just to be like below average to average.
So
And
you're
the amount
saying
of
you're starting your
time,
punk band then?
yeah.
So you've
It,
learned two chords because you got one more to go, and
Right? Yeah.
then
it's like in order to like get on stage and play in front of people and to like have other people like watch you, like I don't know, it would be take up so much of my time that I'm like I'm not cut out for this. Like this I thought it was like something that I could, but the problem is with like playing guitar or instrument, at least for me personally, is that if I don't play it for 2 months, it's like I lose so much of my skill. And then it's like I gotta work myself back into shape. It's
Whoa.
like going to the gym and getting into shape, and you're like, you go for 2 months straight and you feel like, I'm really fit. But then if you spend 2 months at home and you don't go to the gym, you're like, oh shit, like I have no cardio anymore. Like my fingers hurt. Like I'm fat fingering everything. I can't put my fingers in the right place, and my brain is not talking to my hand the way it should, and it just sucks.
Wow. No, that's interesting. Someone, I don't remember what band it was, but they were like, um, I was, we were in a band and I was rhythm guitarist, but I wanted to be lead. And they're like, okay, go ahead, try it out. And he's like, it's exhausting. Like it takes so much out of you because you're moving so much more and everything has to be precise and all that stuff. So he's like, I'm going back to rhythm. Yeah, that's crazy. Because like, yeah, can you name one fat lead guitarist? Pixies, what's his name? Was he the lead? I have no idea. Actually, no. If I had a hi-fi, their lead is hefty.
Well, there you
Oh,
go. You did it.
yeah.
Name one
I'm
fat
asking AI
ukulele
right
player.
now. It says Jack Black.
I think Kyle's the lead though,
Yeah,
right?
Kyle's the lead, yeah.
Although he's not too slim himself, so there we
Yeah, who's
go.
heavier between the two?
Yeah.
Who could do push up, a cock push up?
But how many could they do?
Well, I guess you just need the one. Oh man. Uh yeah. Fucking I wanna let's form a band, guys. We'll all be on keyboards. Everything will be sampled. It's fine. There's bands that do that. Isn't Hot Chip? No, no. They have a guitarist. But a lot of them are on keyboards.
Keytar.
Oh, there's Keytar as well. There's
I'll
that
play the
thing,
cowbell.
was it Edgar Winter? He plays like this fucking, it's almost like a synth tar. You ever see that?
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. Oh, cowbell. Okay.
Yeah, I implore anyone who doesn't even want to listen to the full album, just listen to tracks 2, 3, 4, Kids, Riot Rhythm, Infinity Guitars. You get a good feel for what they're about, and you'll keep going.
Kids Riot Rhythm. Did you just tell us about a whole nother band?
No, no, no. Those are the names of the tracks on Treats.
Oh, right.
Kids, Riot Rhythm, and Infinity Guitars.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna check this out some more. It's great. All right. Segue challenge. Um,
Wouldn't it be a treat to hear what the last topic is?
yeah. All right. So I will go. So I have written down picking up bad habits, or it should be just called bad habits. I don't know. But the first thing I wrote down is kind of funny because it's from Dave. Dave, when I lived with you for, I don't know, month, wh- however long I
I already
was
know what it's gonna be, but
on the
yeah, continue.
couch. Yeah, you let me crash on your couch. I'm forever grateful for that. But you ate Oreos, like you had desserts and stuff. And after a while, I'm like, yeah, man, you got it all figured out. You treat yourself to some fucking candy. And because, when I got older, I grew out of that. I was like, whatever. But I've noticed since living with you, Dave, I buy myself a candy treat. And I blame you for the preceding 20-pound gain. Okay, so drinking, of course, is very annoying. I mean, like, I've been trying to, like, say, like, all right, I'm gonna dry up now, and who wants to drink when they're 40? Like, I'm kind of over it. Like, I've been saying that when I was younger, where I'm like, I don't want to be drinking in my 40s. But that's a crazy habit to kick. I don't know if anyone's ever known that, but it's
And who
fucking
has
tough.
more reason to drink than someone who's older? Like, fuck it.
Right? Exactly. No, I'm like, it's crazy how the mind will play with you. You're like, well, you deserve a beer. I'm like, why? What did I do? They're like, well, if you think about it, I don't know. It's just like I'll come up with shit. It's so stupid, but it's by far one of the more annoying habits I picked up. Um, I used to scratch my head when I was anxious. I'm not anxious anymore, but when I was more fit, or when I was more easier to slip into depression, I guess. I don't know. When I was more negative thinking, I would have this weird habit of like scratching my head on both sides. Eventually, when I would get a haircut, I would look at my head. I'm like, what the fuck? The barber fucked up. They just took out a big chunks of hair on either side. It wasn't that. It was because I was like scratching away the hair follicles from my fucking head. That was nuts. But I've stopped that since then. I used to grind my teeth when I was a kid. I remember that. And I remember people telling me, like, don't do that. Like, it's going to be really bad and stuff.
Um, that's not really a habit though. Like when you're awake, you were grinding your teeth, or when?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Is that wrong?
well, no, I just don't understand.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Well, it's a bad
like
habit,
you,
though.
like that's when you're focusing on, like what, under what circumstances would that happen?
They just told me, they're like, why stop grinding your teeth? I'm like, I didn't even notice it, but I would
Oh,
do
like
that.
you'd just be sitting there and like grinding your
Yeah.
teeth together. Oh,
I can't do it. Ah. But now I can't stand it when I hear it. Like when I work nights, I got to watch over the clients, and some of them would just grind their teeth. You could hear it through the wall. Ugh.
oh wow.
Oh my gosh. And then one of the grossest things I've picked up on from a roommate, and I don't even know why, because I thought it was disgusting then, but he had a pile of trash next to him. Like he would like smoke cigarettes and then he would just kind of put it down there. He'd eat a bag of something, he'd just kind of set it there. And eventually he'd have like a pyramid of garbage next to him. And I was like, that is fucking disgusting. But then I noticed afterwards, like he had it, not a bad idea. I am feeling lazy or whatever. But eventually I started doing that, and it's so disgusting. Like it really kind of it snaps me out of it sometimes when I think of like, oh, I should have a guest over or I should whatever. And I look and I see a pile of trash. I'm like, what the fuck? That is ugh. What a turn off for myself. Yeah. So
I
what do you guys have?
remember your roommate. Did your roommate, was that pile of trash generally on a computer desk?
That pile of trash of a roommate was by a computer desk.
Because I remember your roommate had like three or four computer monitors, and there was like multiple ashtrays where they would smoke cigarettes, and they were just filled. There was nowhere else to put cigarette butts. And it was like,
Hmm.
at what point are you gonna throw that out, dude? Like,
Yeah, and I don't know why that stuck with me. Maybe I'm very impressionable. I'm not sure, but yeah. What do you guys have to say about bad habits?
Couple of them definitely that you mentioned struck home for me. Like sometimes I'll find like I've gained like a bit of weight and I'm like, oh man, like I've realized now like for some reason I feel like I need to have like dessert after every meal. So like a cookie or a candy bar, like just something like you don't need that. Like you can like retrain yourself that you feel satisfied without it, but it takes effort to just not give in every time you want it. Because like I go to the office and there's like free snacks everywhere, so you have to like be like, nope, I don't need that. Um, Another one that I think is gross that when I notice that I'm doing it is like when my beard is longer, sometimes I'll like fold up the beard hair and kind of like chew on it. I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. Like that's got to be gross to like see or watch someone doing that. But it's just like an absent-minded thing to do.
That is
but I feel like
gross.
if a girl does that with her hair and she sticks it in her mouth, then it's kind of like cute and playful. But if a guy does it, then it's not good.
Ah, damn
Double
it.
standards.
I want to
Yeah, it's
undo
not
my
fair.
my ponytail here and stick my hair in my mouth, but I won't. Dave, you got to have some bad habits or you've picked up on over the years.
Oh yeah, I got lots of bad habits. Like I'm doing one right now. I'm just like rubbing my chin. And I'll do that, like where I'll rub my chin or I'll go like this and like I shave my head pretty close so it's like my head feels fuzzy and I think it feels cool. So I will just like rub my head and I hope I'm not rubbing myself bald even more than nature is doing that to me. I hope I'm not speeding up the process. But like I do that, and then I'll like pick up my fingernails, and like I'm always like I'll get fidgety, but I don't feel like I was always that way. I feel like my wife is kind of fidgety, and I feel like I do that now as well. Where like I'll have my phone and there's like the pop socket on the back, and I'll just open it, close it, and I'll just be putzing around with it for no reason. And I'm like, why am I don't know. It's probably wrong of me to like blame it on someone else and say like, oh, my wife is fidgety and that's why I am. Like maybe I've always been that way, but I just haven't recognized it until like the last few years. Um yeah, but like I do with sweets, like I've gone through phases. I'm a little bit better now, but I bought an air fryer. And an air fryer is like a super easy way to cook like bad food for you. So like I can just go through the grocery aisle and I'm just like, ooh, mini tacos, or like, ooh, chicken nuggets, or taquitos, or tater tots. And I don't even
Oh,
like
you
tater
love tater
tots.
tots.
I hated them, but now I kind of started to like them because I've been just trying out junk food.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, like anytime I go to the grocery store, I'll always go to the frozen section. And I used to like never get any frozen foods because I was always like, they're bad, they're filled with preservatives. I just want to get like fresh, like refrigerated meat and none of the frozen stuff. But then, I don't know, for whatever reason, I got an air fryer now. Now it's super easy. So that way I can have dinner for super easy, and I'll just buy like junk food like that. And I don't know. And like there's that, but then like that's not even the worst of it because like I eat fast food too, and that's probably 10 times worse. Um, I don't know. There's the problem is like what you were talking about, Vince, where like you'll have a bad habit, but like our brains will just find a way to justify it. And we're like, who cares? And like, cause like part of your brain will be like, don't do it. And then the other part's just like, why not? Like, whatever. And then it's just like, so I don't know. It's tough to like make ground rules for yourself and be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And when I feel the urge to do this, I'm not gonna give in. I'm not gonna have a cookie after dinner because like I used to do that all the time where it was like, what am I having for dessert? I have to have like some candy in the house or cookies or like ice cream. Like I would find like, oh, there's a new ice cream place, and I would always get a half gallon of ice cream so that way I could have some ice cream after dinner. And it was just like eat dinner, and then about 45 minutes later, it was like, all right, I'm gonna get some ice cream. And it's this is kind of bad habits like that. And like, I don't know, there's a million of them.
And it's crazy how like the science of habit forming and stuff, like how our bodies just become accustomed to stuff. Like I've said I love taking naps, but in a way, like a nap is a bad habit because like um if I go like a few days where just like schedule wise it doesn't work to take it, I'm like, oh, actually my body doesn't need to nap anymore. But if I'm like, oh, every day at like 1 in the afternoon, I get to like, you know, rest for 15 minutes or whatever. Like that time of day comes and like I just need a nap. And like it's like your body is like, come on, don't hold out on me. You were doing this every other day. Why not now?
I try to make new habits, but it turned out not to work that great. Meal prep. The thing is, you buy your food and you put them in like little containers and you're like, "Oh, okay, I have the whole fucking week or whatever." Well, after a while, the food just it doesn't taste fresh because it's not fresh anymore. I don't know, it's just and then I'm not really sure how much I trust microwaves, like because isn't that kind of linked to cancer and stuff and like how much I eat related to microwaves and you know what I mean?
I don't,
Um,
I think that kind of got debunked. I guess I'm not a
oh really?
doctor, so I shouldn't say before, but I don't think there's a credible link between microwaves.
Well, that's good. Like I feel better about that because that's always been on my mind where I'm like, oh gosh, like
Like maybe if you're microwaving like your body. Like, if you have like a faulty shield or something and your microwave is like blasting you, but like I
Oh,
don't think eating microwave food is dangerous.
that's good.
Yeah. Like when I work in X-ray and like in school when they were teaching us about like different types of radiation, like microwave radiation is like such a low frequency that it's like if you were like, like subjected to a lot of it, it could be bad, but like the amount that you would have to be subjected to would be a very large amount because it's so low frequency. But I think the bad thing that I've heard is like if you're microwaving like certain plastics, the
Oh yeah,
plastics will
that's a good
like
point.
leach into your food. So you're better off microwaving stuff in like a ceramic or glass container.
Yeah,
Uh,
or like black plastic in particular, I've heard like it will so they'll like they'll use like black plastic for like electronics and stuff, and they'll put like flame retardant chemicals in it, and that stuff should not get recycled, but sometimes it does, and then that stuff ends up in like the black plastic takeout tray you get from the restaurant, and then like particularly if you're heating that up in the microwave, that can leach some pretty bad stuff into your food.
wow. Quick
That's
trip.
terrible.
That's all their that's all their microwavable dishes come in is black plastic. Oh man, that's
At
crazy.
Buffalo Wild Wings, if you get a side of queso or a side of marinara or a side of chili, they all come in the black plastic cups. Or if you just get like a side of like sauce, but those other things would all be heated up in a black plastic like 3 ounce container. Ugh.
Yikes. But yeah, meal prep just did not work. I wanted it to, but out of the newest habits though I'm forming is the treadmill. I've been using that. Even if it's just like walking on it for 30 minutes, like it's something as opposed to nothing, so yeah, I kind of like there was a phase, I'm kind of out of it now, but there was a phase where I would wake up and first thing I would do, I'm like groggy and I just hop on the treadmill and I'd watch an episode of Columbo. It was great. It was a great little ritual that I had and fell apart. Oh.
You'd think you'd be done exercising, but then you'd hear, oh, just one more thing.
Yeah. Good stuff. You know what? That's the show. Tell them about the email, John.
Oh, well, like we're sick of coming up with our own topics, so get these lazy listeners and viewers to help us out a bit. So if you have something that you love, hate, or are indifferent to, send an email to topics at a few goldilockbears.com. Um, we'll put a link in the show notes here and tell us what you love, hate, or are indifferent to and why. And maybe we'll talk about it on the show.